Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else.
Gak jelas banget ya orang.
You're just a coward!
Which Red Woman, Pak. Hey, what's going on guys? Nost here. Hari ini kita mainin lagi Tales of Arise. Jadi kemarin kita udah nemuin pesawatnya dan sekarang kita lagi di perjalanan menuju ke Lenegis. Nah, ini questnya kita disuruh ngobrol sama si Dohalim ya. Kayaknya kalau mau mendarat kita harus ngobrol dulu sama si Dohalim nih karena dia kan kaptennya ya. Let's go.
Is everyone about ready?
Is everyone about ready?
We'll soon be making preparations to land.
We'll soon be making preparation to land.
Before we do that,
kita bakal mendarat guys.
just what exactly should we expect when we get down there?
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it, I don't know the first thing about Lenegis.
Okay.
I'd like to hear more too.
Oh ini mereka lagi
It's been
nanyain
centuries since I
tentang
was
si
last
Lenegisnya ya
there.
ke
They
si
didn't
Dohalim
exactly
guys.
give me the
Si
grand
Dohalim
tour.
ini karena dia Lord, dia punya informasi tentang keadaan
Very well.
si Lenegis
First
guys.
and
Jadi kita
foremost,
waktu nyampe
Lenegis
sana tuh
is
nggak kelabakan ya.
was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dahna. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent
Jadi
society.
ada kota guys di
Its social
dalam si
structure is based on a
Lenegisnya ya.
strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Oh.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean?
Jadi
But astral arts are innate,
Lenegis
right?
pun ada
So
social
people's
ranknya ya, ada
positions
kelas-kelas
are fixed
sosialnya
at birth.
tergantung dari
They
astral
can be honed with
energinya
the
guys.
right
Jadi kalau
training,
semakin
and there are
orang semakin
admittedly
punya
other
banyak
factors
astral
at play.
energi, dia makin
But
tinggi
yes,
kelasnya.
that's basically the gist.
Berarti
As
dia
a
tuh
result, family
dibagi-bagi
lines that churn out
sesuai
lords and
sama
their contenders
kekuatannya ya.
wield disproportionate
orang-orang itu.
influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dahna even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renan ladder is considered superior to being a Dahnan. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shionne?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
Fair point.
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an
jadi
invitation to
Shionne
high
ini
society.
Kayaknya kelas sosial nggak terlalu tinggi guys, walaupun dia punya
Sorry.
astral energi yang banyak,
No, it's
tapi dia
fine.
punya
It's
keputusan
refreshing
itu.
to be
Jadi
around
dia
someone who says what they're thinking.
masuk
Life's less
ke kelas
complicated
sosial yang
that way.
tinggi ya.
Jeez, give backhanded compliments much?
Wait a second. Are you? He is! Lost blushing!
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's worth.
So this red woman,
Nah
are
ini
we
ya si Red
expecting to
Woman
find
ya.
her on Lenegis?
Di mana nih?
I would wager
Lenegis
so.
ini gede banget guys ya, tapi
Lenegis is too
kita harus
deeply
nemuin si
involved
Red
in all
Woman ini
this to
karena dia
discard
yang
the
nyuri
possibility.
Master
Chances
Horn
are
itu.
she's also connected
Dan
to
dia
the
yang
Rena's
punya Renas
Alma being
Almanya ya.
stolen from us in Pelegion.
If the Rena's Alma is being used to exploit Dahna, we need to take it back at all costs.
That red woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of questions.
Kenapa nih?
We're about to land.
We're about to
The
land
descent
guys.
could be
Ini
a little
udah
bumpy, so
hampir
brace
mendarat
yourselves.
banget kita ya.
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shionne, we'll find them.
Oke guys, kita masuk ke Lenegis nih. Oh, udah mendarat guys, udah mendarat. By the way, ini
There's
kok
no one here.
nggak ada orang ya?
I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated.
Largely automated
Besides,
katanya.
people won't be expecting incoming
struktur
traffic while the
si
crown
Lenegis
contest
ya.
is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed.
Oke.
Don't let your guard down.
Jadi ada kemungkinan kita udah kedetek ya, masuk
I
Lenegis
really
guys.
hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renas Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
Ini dia where we should start looking.
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to
Nah.
the sovereigns. known as the Forbidden Zone. That
Oh,
seems
jadi
as good a
ada
place as any
area
for
di
us to start.
kotanya yang cuman bisa diakses sama Sovereign, guys. Namanya Forbidden apa tadi?
What are they
Forbidden
hiding?
apa gitu ya? Pokoknya tempat
I don't
terlarang gitu ya.
know,
Dan
hence my desire to find out.
kayaknya si Dohalim pun
Fortunately,
nggak
we
tahu
just so
guys di
happen to
dalamnya
have a
itu ada apa.
sovereign in our midst.
Jadi kayaknya kemungkinan sih kita harus ke sana nih.
In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
And you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alfin said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time.
Oke.
Possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Oke.
Shionne's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's
Oh,
not
nih
like we're
Forbidden
swimming
Zone
leads,
namanya guys
so
ya.
let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone.
Oke guys.
Beyond that wall lies a city full of
Saatnya kita
records.
langsung menuju ke questnya aja.
Capital city where Shionne and Dohalim used to live, no less.
Which tempat apa nih ya? Kenapa dia kayak berasap-asap gitu guys? Kayak pada rusak ya? Kayak habis diserang guys.
What in the world?
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different.
Ini
But
kenapa bangunannya pada runtuh
this
guys?
is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted.
Oh,
What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the
jadi emang si
interior
Lenegis
too.
itu awalnya tuh bentuknya kayak planet
Maybe
biasanya
when they
bulat.
sent the wedge
Tapi
down to Dahna?
But
setelah
they
dia
wouldn't move
nembakin the
around the
wedge itu, pas
places
dia
where
mau nembakin
people
the wedge
live.
itu dia kayak berubah.
These
Jadi
are their
bentuknya jadi kayak
homes,
satelit ya.
right?
Dan katanya tuh
I would think the
ngubahnya itu
citizens
butuh energi yang
themselves
banyak,
didn't have much
kemungkinan
say in
dia
the matter.
pakai kekuatan dari
Either
Renas
way,
Alma guys. Dan
locating the
ketika dia
Forbidden
berubah
Zone just became that much
bentuk,
trickier.
jadi si struktur interiornya juga ada yang kena ya. Jadi si
you?
bangunan-bangunan ini banyak yang rusak.
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
Oke.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dahna participating in the crown contest? And these people!
So you haven't heard what happened on Dahna then?
Heard what?
Ini ada kenalan si Dohalim nih.
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever.
Oke, semoga aja si
I wish
orang
I
ini
could
bisa
help, but what with the
kasih
changed
tahu kita
topography, I can
tentang
barely
lokasi
locate my own
Forbidden Zone
home.
ya.
Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the
Wah,
way
dia nggak
there
tahu juga guys ya.
ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
Varia siapa nih Varia?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Oke, kayaknya nih si Dohalim kenal
Why
juga
did
nih
you come
sama
back?
cewek nih, kayaknya namanya Varia ya.
You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you.
Yang anehnya, kenapa kita nggak disergap sama
Take care of
soldiernya ya,
yourself.
sama prajuritnya?
Okay, Do?
So who's Faria?
So who's Faria nih ya kita tanyain.
Law?
Langsung ditanyain sama Silo.
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down on Dahna.
They seem to be just as clueless
Jadi
about what's going on
orang-orang
up here in their own world.
Lenegis ini belum tahu
Despite
ya
the fact
apa yang
that it's
terjadi di
actually
Dahna,
here
guys.
that the
Kalau
wedge
lord-lord
originally
mereka
came
itu udah
from.
pernah dikalahin.
We need more information. Let's talk to the citizens, see what we can find out.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the Red Woman too.
And don't forget about finding the way to the Forbidden Zone either.
Let's leave the talking to Shionne. We can't have a bunch of Danans poking their noses around.
Good idea. I think that's for the best.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantages.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two.
Oke. Nah, kita lanjut lagi guys. Ini, by the way, kita disuruh ngobrol sama citizen of Lenegis ya.
Probably keep our heads down.
Ngobrol sama
What if
penduduk
people
di Lenegis
freak
nih
out?
guys.
I shall
Kita ngobrol
explain
sama
it away
sekarang
by
ini.
saying I'm leading you.
Halo.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city.
Hancur lebur gila.
Even the Zugals have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no
Jadi si
prior
orang ini juga nggak tahu
decree.
ya, kenapa
His Highness
strukturnya
must have
tiba-tiba
deemed it
berubah, guys.
unnecessary for us
Berarti
to
mungkin
know.
juga si orang-orang ini nggak tahu kalau
We
misalnya
have
si
no
Lenegis udah
choice but
nembakin
to
The Wedge
grin
ya
and
ke dalam
bear it.
planet Dahna.
But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dahna.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit? The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris
katanya
House
orang-orang kayak
has
baik ya.
produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Oke lanjut aja nih. Kayaknya ada dua penduduk lagi yang harus kita ajak ngobrol ya. By the way ini apa nih? Oh ini bisa di heal guys. Kita lanjut ngobrol aja ya.
Your lordship. Oh, what a great
Your
honor it is to
lordship.
finally
Oh
meet
ini si
you.
Dohalim terkenal banget ya karena dia lord guys.
I descended to Dahna during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all
Nah
in
ini kita
red.
nanyain tentang si Red
Have you
Woman-nya
seen
itu ya.
anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dahna during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked.
Oke, dia nggak
Sorry
tahu
to
guys.
take up your
Ternyata dia
time.
nggak punya informasi tentang Red Woman ya. Lanjut. Setelah citizen di sini. Apa nih?
Is everything okay?
Is everything okay?
You look a little lost.
Oh, yes.
I can't seem
I
to find
can't
my
seem
way
to
home.
find
Oh
my way
dia
home is all. I was just
Karena
about to make my
strukturnya
umpteenth
berubah
attempt
nih,
at a new
jadi dia
route.
nggak
I
tahu
was
jalan
hoping
pulang
to head
guys.
this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim
Oh
Ilkaris!
kaget nih ngeliat si,
But how?
ngeliat si Dohalim.
Last I heard, you were in Dahna competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful
Oke
if you
ini
could tell us.
kita bisa dapat
But of course. Please forgive
petunjuk ya
me.
dari si cewek ini.
There's a wall
There's
that's
a
sprung
wall
up
that's
ahead of
sprung
here,
up ahead
with
of
what
here.
looks to be an entrance in
Nah
it.
ini ya.
I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least.
Oke.
I shall go and assess the
Dia
situation.
ngasih
In the
tahu
meantime, wait for me
jalan,
here.
tapi dia
If
juga
it
nggak tahu
looks
ya itu
safe,
jalannya
I'll come and let
menuju
you know.
kemana gitu.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for
akhirnya kita dapat
information.
informasi.
What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth. That
Berarti ada
Lenegis is under some
seseorang
kind
atau
of
apa
control.
yang
Given
berusaha untuk
everything that's happened to
nyumputin
their city,
kebenarannya, guys.
the people
Kalau
here seem
ternyata
weirdly
lordnya
okay
itu udah
with it
dikalahin
all.
semua ya.
Yeah. That one guy even said his Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person
bener ya.
ruling over
Kamu
Lenegis?
Sovereign ini siapa,
The
guys?
Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Karena kan yang gue tahu kan yang punya
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty
lambang
work?
Sovereign itu si
Isn't Rena at
Alpen
least the
sama
same
si-
size as Dahna?
Siapa namanya?
That's a pretty big dominion for one
Volran, guys,
person to
ya.
rule over. I would have thought
Volran tuh
ruling Lenegis
dikalahin.
alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shionne, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Oke.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself.
Oh,
No one but the Sovereign, that is.
jadi semua
But what
penduduk
about trade and
di
communication?
Lenegis ini,
There's got to be
walaupun
a
mereka
flow
orang
back
Rena,
and
tapi
forth,
nggak pernah
surely.
ada yang balik ke
Not
planet
if the Sovereign is
Renanya sendiri
imposing
ya.
his will on Lenegis
Semuanya
single-handedly.
tinggal di Lenegis ini,
It
guys,
could
di
be a one-way street.
satelitnya ini.
But I thought
Kecuali
you said
si,
that the Sovereign's all the
Sovereign,
way
guys.
over on Rena.
Jadi kayaknya yang
If that's
tahu
the case,
tentang keadaan
can
planet
he
Rena
really
cuma
rule
si
directly
Sovereign
over
ya.
Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the
Mungkin si
title
planet
given to the
Renanya itu
almighty
udah
Renan
kayak
ruler.
udah
So which one is it?
hancur ya, mungkin juga gitu sih, guys.
Whoever
Jadi
wins the
makanya
crown
mereka
contest
terpaksa
inherits
ngungsi
the
ke
throne from his or
ini
her
nih,
predecessor,
ke
before becoming
Lenegis ini,
ruler
guys,
over all of
satelitnya.
Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volran factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Danan. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volran, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Oke.
Do you think Volran was made sovereign for the same reason? Because of that
Oh iya, si
ceremony?
Volran juga dia punya
can't say for sure, but it certainly
title
sounds like
Sovereign
it.
tanpa dia menang crown
But that
contest,
would
guys.
mean
Karena
that
kan
two
ya
sovereigns
lordnya
would
udah
need to
kita bantai
exist
semua,
at
tinggal
any
sisa
one
dia gitu ya.
time.
Tapi
One whose job it is to rule, and the other
dia
for
bisa dapat
ceremonial
si
purposes. We never did see Volran's
crestnya
body
itu, guys.
back in
Gimana
Ganath
caranya, gue
Harros.
bingung ya.
Is a new ceremony underway with Volran at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volran and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A
maiden.
maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me.
Questions,
Oh, ada
questions,
kemungkinan
and yet
nih,
more
si
questions. Ones that it seems will remain
Spirit
unanswered
channeling apa kalau nggak salah
until
namanya
we can
Spirit
establish the
channeling
Sovereign's
festivalnya itu
identity.
mau dilaksanain
If
lagi
the
ya.
Forbidden Zone really is off limits to everyone but
Yang
the
3 tahun
Sovereign,
lalu tuh
that seems as good a place as any to start.
dilakuin
For the
juga,
sake
guys.
of
Waktu itu
liberating
sama
Dahna,
si
too.
Alpen,
Then it's
si Neori,
decided. That's
Sama
where we
pakai
need
Rena
to
Alma
go.
juga.
One of
Kemungkinan
the
itu mau
citizens
dilakuin lagi
mentioned a
sekarang.
passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction. Let's go find it.
Oke, langsung aja kita ke area berikutnya ya.
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dahna.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Cannabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dahna, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Renans and their lords. Bentar. By the way, itu tadi questnya apa ya? Ini tuh quest Lenegis mainnya. Oh, ini tuh side quest ya. Berarti kita mendingan lanjut ke yang quest ini aja guys, ke yang main questnya ya. By the way, ini main questnya kita suruh ke sini kayaknya sih, ke area berikutnya ya. Oke, kita udah nyampe di area berikutnya. Oh, ini kayaknya kita bakal ke kiri sana guys.
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed. The effects of Lenegis's transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was...
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned,
Oh, kayaknya itu
right?
environment aja ya.
In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfrikt Milgras.
Hanfrikt
The
Milgras.
former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfrikt whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of
Pokoknya
Rena?
si Hanfrikt ini
The
guys,
last I
sekarang
heard,
tuh yang
yes.
jadi sovereignnya katanya ya.
Though admittedly, I haven't
Dulunya
actually
dia lord
seen him since
di
the end of the
Cislodia.
previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Oh, jadi setelah kalau ada
Now that you
lord
mention
yang
it,
udah jadi
I don't
sovereign,
recall
itu nggak
anyone
pernah
ever
nampilin
visiting
dirinya lagi ya.
Lenegis from the
Kecuali
motherland,
dari rekaman
sovereign
guys.
or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom?
Ada kemungkinan nih.
And to what end?
Si lord-lordnya juga itu.
A new
di
Renis
eksperimen ya.
Alma
Gue
is
juga nggak tahu sih, guys.
supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's
Oh,
true,
gila sih, ini
there
ceritanya
should be as
complicated
many
banget.
of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then.
Let's get
a
a
move
Let's
on.
go. Ini kita harus buru-buru ke area berikutnya nih supaya kita bisa dapat informasi tentang si Red Woman,
Jauh?
Renas Alma, dan yang lain ya.
Faria.
Siapa nih? Oh, ini Faria guys.
Faria? Isn't that the person that
Ini
Amatir guy was...
kenalannya si Dohalim ya.
Why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dahna already.
Ini ceweknya tuh siapa
Nothing
nih
to
guys?
say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still... Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Dahna rock, you haven't changed one bit.
Jadi kayaknya si
But let me tell
Varia
you,
ini tuh orang
I
yang
haven't
waktu
changed
di
either.
ingatan si Dohalim
Not a
guys,
day's gone by
pas
the
dia
past 7
lagi
years that I
berantem lawan
haven't
temennya,
hated
terus
you.
dia nggak sengaja ngebunuh temennya itu ya. Ini si
If
ceweknya.
killing me will bring you
Ternyata
peace,
bukan mamanya ya,
then
atau
so
mamanya
be
sih
it.
gue bingung.
Dohalim, what the hell are
Ini
you
tuh temennya
saying?
juga guys.
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Nice, Dohalim.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else.
Gak jelas banget ya orang.
You're just a coward!
Which? Red Woman, Pak. Jadi kemungkinan sih si cewek yang tadi itu, yang si Varia itu tuh mungkin ceweknya temennya si Dohalim yang gak sengaja waktu itu dibunuh guys, karena lagi kompetisi untuk jadi Lord ya.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Killing someone? Kita juga killing someone kali. Lordnya udah kita bantai
you
semua
mentioned
itu.
having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Okay.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Oke guys, si Dohalim masih ngerahasiain sesuatu ya. Nah, kita nyampe di area berikutnya. Oke, kita ke sini ya. By the way, ini kotanya gede banget guys. Areanya banyak banget ya. Dan gak ada musuh juga. Kita betul. Oh, dia lagi pakai astral arts untuk ngademin apinya guys. Nice juga. Oke, kita masuk sini aja ya. Terus kita ke kanan, kanan lagi. Oke. Nah, kita nyampe di ruangan terbuka gini guys. Ya, mungkin kayak ini kayak plaza gitu.
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renan sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Kenapa si Dohalim semenjak ketemu sama
Before I
si
went down to
Varia itu
Dahna,
dia jadi
my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnigan.
Kayaknya gitu bener. Avakir, Faria sama Tarnigan ini semua teman-temannya si Dohalim. Tarnigan itu orang yang kompetisi sama si Dohalim untuk jadi Lord guys, dan si Dohalim gak sengaja ngebunuh si Tarnigan. Nah, si Varia ini kayaknya suka sama si Tarnigan guys, jadi dia marah ke si Dohalim karena si Dohalim ngebunuh si Tarnigan ya. Gitu,
she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnigan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
Nah, ini zaman dulu nih. Oh, jadi mereka berempat tuh sukanya musik guys,
on
hobinya
mutual
musik
respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnigan and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord.
Tarnigan ini, guys.
Tarnigan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnigan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance.
Oh gila, tapi si Tarnigan ini saking
But he
cupunya
was
guys, jadi
desperate and low on options. He
kalah sama
couldn't
si
stand the
ini,
thought
kalah
of
sama si
defeat.
siapa? Si Dohalim.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less.
Dulu si
She would have been
Tarnigan itu juga
devastated.
katanya curang
So
ya,
instead
sempet
you
curang
let her
pas
go on
dia
hating you,
kompetisi sama si Dohalim, guys.
so she could use
Dia
that
mungkin
hate
kenapa
as a
si
crutch
Dohalim
for
nggak
her grief?
sengaja harus ngebunuh si Tarnigan ya, karena dia
That's
tuh
not the same as running away, though.
It is
cheating, guys.
exactly the same. Unable to face the
Tapi,
loss of my friend and the
si
burden of my duty. Instead,
Faria
I
itu
decried
nggak tahu
my
kalau si
fate
Tarnigan
and
ini
looked
dia
away from what I'd
nge-cheat,
done.
guys.
As for what
Dia
happened
full
after,
bencinya ke si Dohalim.
that you already know.
Dohalim nggak mau ngasih tahu ke si Tarnia ya, karena
But if you hadn't become Lord,
ke Faria
Menancia
ya,
wouldn't be what it is now.
Musingin guys.
The Dahnans
Si Dohalim
there
nggak
would
ngasih
still
tahu ke
be
si Faria,
suffering under
karena dia
Renan
kasihan
oppression
sama si
like
Faria,
before.
Dia udah ditinggalin sama si Tarnigan ini.
Shionne's right.
Nama
What
ribet
other
banget.
lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always, but I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so.
He's got
Kisara.
yeah.
It's important to have someone like that.
Ya kan?
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shionne. I promise he does.
I hope you're right.
Lihat siapa nih? Oh, ini temennya yang tadi ya? Oke, langsung aja kita menuju ke area berikutnya ya. Wih, ada
I see a medic and
shock
supply
nih sama
officer
ada buat
over there.
nge-heal ya.
If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer
Nah,
their
which?
assistance.
Damn it. Lenegis soldiers.
Ada musuh dong.
Any way we can
Yeah,
avoid
guys.
fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be
You ready?
ready.
Oke, kita lawan gila level 44.
Well, so much for them not wanting to fight.
Oh, I am Lord Dohalim of Menancia.
Kita pecahin dulu nih guys shieldnya ya.
Threats to the city must be erased.
Break.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not, if they
Sabar, gue mau cancel dia nih lagi shieldnya kurang ajar.
Be still!
Kayaknya gue harus hajar dulu guys yang ini ya. Coba pakai ini bisa nggak? Ke break, nice. Cut.
Here, let me help.
Nice. Wah gila sih ini tebel banget gila. Cancel dulu guys. Casting skill ya. Oke. Mampus, besar. Nah, kita mystic arts dulu guys. Dia terakhir berantem tuh pas ngelawan ini ya, pas ngelawan bos yang golem guys. Tonjok lo. Nice. Abis guys, gila itu soldiernya beda lagi warnanya. Pertama kali kan kita ketemu soldier yang warnanya silver ya, armor silver. Abis itu kita sempat ketemu juga yang warnanya ungu guys waktu di Valorant di Dengan Heroes, sama ini baru guys, dia armornya gold juga. Dan levelnya jauh lebih tinggi dari kita ya. Kalau nggak salah kita tuh di 40
And yet,
guys.
traditionally Lenegis hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zeugles during experiments here and there, but not much else.
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ganath Heros. The ones in blind devotion to Volron.
I've never seen anything like that here on Lenegis before.
Maybe someone doesn't want us here, and the soldiers are their way of letting us know.
Okay.
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, we're starting to develop quite the growing list of adversaries. At least we'll know to keep our wits about us.
Oke guys, jadi di part kali ini kita udah nyampe di Lenegis dan tadi kita udah ketemu sama beberapa kenalannya si Dohalim. Anehnya tadi setelah kita ngobrol sama si Varia, tiba-tiba muncul si Red Woman itu guys. Next part kita bakal lanjutin questnya, semoga aja kita bisa nemuin informasi tentang Red Woman atau Rena's Alma atau juga Forbidden Zone-nya ya. Oke, sampai di sini dulu videonya. Thanks banget buat semuanya yang udah nonton dan support terus. Buat kalian yang suka jangan lupa like, share, and subscribe ya. Hope you enjoy the gameplay and thank you very much for watching.